What is going on, LBHT crew? We are back with another installment of, what do we call it? The comeback? Not the comeback.
The rebuild.
The rebuild. Yes, the Panthers have been busy. They've been making moves. Dave Canales said that they are 100% in on Bryce Young. They're going to build a wall around him. They're going to get him the weapons. All right, and that's exactly what they're doing. They made some major moves already at the start of free agency, and they are not done yet. What are they doing, B?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously they started out kind of overhauling the offensive line. They got two massive guards in Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis. Overpaid for them, but you know, they're a 2-win team. They have to overpay for players to come there. So Robert Hunt got 5 years, $100 million. Damian Lewis got, I believe, around $11 million a year. But you know, they're both guys who will come in and immediately upgrade the offensive line. You know, they'll be able to open up holes for Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders, or wherever their running back ends up being, hopefully someone else. And they'll be able to protect Bryce Young because he spent all of last season getting knocked down, sacked, hit, knocked to the ground on every drop back, essentially. He was running for his life every week. They also went and they traded Dante Jackson, former starting corner, who they were planning on releasing. They traded him to Pittsburgh, who was in desperate need of secondary help, for wide receiver Deontay Johnson, who is one of the top 10 wide receivers in the league in terms of actually creating separation and getting open, which again is something that is desperately needed in Carolina. Adam Thielen, he had himself a decent little season. They got nothing from Jonathan Mingo and Terrace Marshall, next to nothing from DJ Chark. Yeah. They desperately needed to upgrade their weapons, so they have themselves a legit starting wide receiver in Deontay Johnson, to pair with Adam Thielen, assuming he'll be back. They also, they gave away some talent on defense. They cut Von Bell. They traded away Dante Jackson. They traded away Brian Burns, their star edge rusher, who they had just franchised. They traded him to the Giants for a second-round pick and a couple fifths. Pick swap in the 5th round and a 5th round in 2025. They also let go of Frankie Louvu, who everybody wanted back. Everybody loves Frankie Louvu, but he decided he wanted to go play for Dan Quinn in Washington. And so they also lost Yatir Gross-Matos. All right. But, they went out and they brought in DJ Wanham, the edge rusher from Minnesota, who had 8 sacks last year. They brought in Ashawn Robinson, a defensive tackle, and they also brought Josie Jewell, a middle linebacker who played for Avero in Denver. So they've been kind of, they've been attacking the entire roster. They also signed Dane Jackson, a corner out of Buffalo. More of a depth guy there, but we'll see how he performs. Dan Morgan was in Buffalo when they drafted him, so he's another familiar face. But yeah, they're attacking the whole roster because the whole roster was terrible last year. They one of the worst offenses the NFL has ever seen, period. I mean, they were that bad. The defense was surprisingly good considering how terrible the offense was, but they like I said, they've moved on from several guys and they're kind of retooling there. They've still got some more work to do. They need more edge rushers, obviously. They're down to one, just DJ Wanham at this point.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm very impressed by what they've done so far. Right. Again, like I said, we're evaluating the Ravens offseason so far. We're just evaluating in real time. There's still a lot for them to do. There's still a lot of offseason to go, right? You have the rest of the free agency, you have the draft and whatnot. We're evaluating this in real time. But so far, they've done an excellent job. And they are practicing our philosophy that we developed, okay? And that is #defund the defense.
Yes.
All right? They took from the defense, and it hurts because Brian Burns was that dude. I was a big fan of Frankie Louvu, so hate to see those guys go. But the number one priority is protecting your quarterback. That's number one. Number two is getting your quarterback weapons, and they started to do that right out the gate. Yeah. It's very hard to do. You don't see too many teams put that kind of effort in their quarterbacks, especially black quarterbacks. And and they decided, no, man, Bryce Young got beat up way too much. Mm-hmm. So we're going to protect him. We're going to start with the interior O-line. Some say they overpaid for those guys, but it doesn't matter. There's no price tag on keeping your quarterback upright.
And they've got Bryce Young on a rookie deal for another 4 years, and this is the time to spend. You need to spend all of that money and fill up the roster with talent around him, and try to become as competitive as you can, as quickly as you can.
Yes.
So to that end, we're kind of looking at some of the people who are still available in free agency who, Carolina could be going after, right? Obviously, they're hosting Jadeveon Clowney and Chase Young, which we mentioned. They're also going to be hosting Jordan Fuller tomorrow, I believe, to come in and play safety since they released Von Bell. They still need help at wide receiver. They obviously still need help at edge, but they also cut Bradley Bozeman, their starting center. And right now they're saying they want to kind of kick Austin Corbett over to center and have him kind of take over. Austin Corbett was a good guard, but he had 2 major knee injuries and hasn't really played a whole lot of center. So I'm hoping that's not really the plan. Connor Williams is still available from Miami, who looks like he could step in. He's ready to be a full-time starter for the Panthers, or could be a full-time starter for the Panthers. They've got Hollywood still out there, Tyler Boyd still out there. So I think they can do a little more work in terms of building around Bryce right now before you even get to the draft.
Okay, Dan Morgan. The last time we did this video, we were skeptical, to say the least. And we suggested something to him to help keep him focused. And I gotta say, I think he took our advice, B.
You think so? I mean, he may have. If you ever seen Dan Morgan, he looks like he's locked in all the time. Right? He's very focused on anything that's happening at any particular moment. So I don't know if he took our advice or not, but I know that you can get on Dan Morgan's level with 2 little words: magic mind. It's a productivity and creativity shot. You take it in the morning. You take it with your morning coffee if that's what you're into, or your morning tea, and it'll help that caffeine boost last all day for you. It'll kind of help you even out so you don't crash after a shot of caffeine, or those sugar rushes, how you always you get real high and then you get real low. That's not what happens with Magic Mind. It's all natural ingredients, and it gets you into what they call a flow state, where you can just concentrate and get done whatever you need to get done. I use it every day when I'm just doing my 9-to-5 job. I use it when I'm working on videos for the show, and even when we're recording, before, because you just you take the shot, it takes about 2 seconds, and you're good for the entire day, essentially. And it helps you kind of block out distractions. Like I said, it's all natural. It has a great taste from the matcha. That's one of the ingredients there. You've got the nootropics. You've got ashwagandha, various other natural ingredients. So it tastes great. It works, and it continues to build on its effectiveness, the more you take it day after day. And the best thing about it, probably, or one of, is that it's a completely risk-free proposition. Because if you don't like it, doesn't work for you, you get a full refund, no questions asked. But before you can get a refund, you have to go down there at the bottom of the screen. You see it. Go to www.magicmind.com/lunchbreak, and you can use our code LBHT20, and that'll get you 20% off of your first order, or up to 56% off of a subscription order.
There you go. And great product. We can both attest to it. Good taste. You guys know my thing. I'm not big on consuming green products, but this stuff is the real deal. No bad aftertaste or anything like that. Goes down easy, and it's great for our focus. And it's great for Dan Morgan's focus as well, because he's doing an excellent job so far. All right. We're definitely skeptics of Dan Morgan, but he's on the right track. Now, having said that, based off all the moves that we have made, or you have made, in free agency so far, how does this affect what you guys do in the draft?
I hate it when people say this, we set this up for a best player available draft, because there's not really any such thing as a best player available. Like, you don't know how good any of these guys are really going to be. And it's always, influenced by your own bias. But it gives them options. Before free agency started, it looked like they were going to have to go wide receiver or O-line with that first pick. Because they don't have a first round pick. They're picking 33rd, first pick in the second round, and they just had to get a day one starter and a difference maker at one of those positions. But now that that they've done some work on the O-line. They went out and they got Deontay Johnson. It gives them a little more flexibility. They got the 39th pick from the Giants for that Brian Burns deal. So, they can, widen their view a little bit and look at other positions. Our guy Jay has told us many times he hopes they go with look after a center because he doesn't want to be trusting Austin Corbett there. They could go edge. They could go corner. If it was me, I would still be looking at wide receiver. You just have Deontay Johnson there right now. Adam Thielen is on his last legs. I mean, he's older. He's not going to be there much longer. So I would be looking to pair a Ladd McConkey who has tested with elite speed and agility and is a great separator just like Deontay Johnson. And I want to get as many guys on the field who can get open quickly for Bryce Young as possible, right? I'm not a huge fan of contested catch guys. I don't think that translates nearly as well. But guys getting open, they're always going to be able to get open, right? If they have that skill.
How you feel about a good pass catching running back there? I know you have Miles Sanders on the team. I know you have Blackshear on the team. But I mean, I think there's going to be all the running backs there, and there could be another Josh Jacobs or somebody like that.
I do want them to upgrade the running back position, but I don't think on day 2 is the place to do it for them. It's just not a big enough impact position. I don't think that the prospects in this year's class are good enough for them to overlook the O-line, overlook wide receiver, or any of these other positions to go running back that early. But I think that is something they should definitely look at on day 3.
Okay. All right. Well, look, let us know what you think, Panthers Nation. Are you happy with the moves made so far? Are you feeling optimistic about the rest of free agency and going into the draft? What do you think that they should do next in terms of picking up veterans? Also, what do you think that draft board should look like? We're going to be discussing more of the draft as we approach it, and our picks and who we think they're going to do, because we do mock drafts just like everybody else. We'll have our own mock draft. All right, so make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you turn on that notification bell, because we are going to continue the rebuild. All right, so until next time, what do you guys say? Keep pounding. Peace.